The Mafia. Just the name conjures up images of shadowy figures and dangerous secrets. It evokes a world where loyalty is paramount and betrayal is met with swift and often brutal retribution. The Mafia is not just a criminal organization, it is a way of life, a code of conduct that has been passed down through generations. This powerful criminal organization has its roots in Sicily, a beautiful island in the Mediterranean Sea. Sicily, with its stunning landscapes and rich cultural heritage, seems an unlikely birthplace for such a notorious group. Yet it is here, amidst the olive groves and ancient ruins, that the Mafia found fertile ground to grow. For centuries, the Mafia has held a grip on Sicilian life, operating in the shadows and leaving its mark on society. It infiltrated every aspect of daily life, from the bustling markets to the quiet village squares. The Mafia's influence was pervasive, and its reach extended far beyond the island's shores. But how did this secret society become so powerful? What were the conditions that allowed it to flourish? To answer these questions, we must delve into the history of Sicily itself. The island's tumultuous past, marked by foreign invasions and social upheaval, created a perfect storm for the rise of the Mafia. To understand the Mafia, we need to travel back in time to its origins. We must explore the socio-economic conditions of 19th century Sicily, a time when the island was plagued by poverty and lawlessness. It was in this environment that the Mafia emerged, offering protection and a semblance of order in a chaotic world. We must explore the conditions that allowed it to take root and the people who shaped its destiny. The Mafia was not born in a vacuum. It was shaped by the people who lived in Sicily, their struggles and their desires for security and justice. It was a response to the failures of the state and the needs of the community. This essay will uncover the history of the Sicilian Mafia, from its humble beginnings to its reign as a criminal empire. We will trace its evolution, examining key events and figures that contributed to its rise. From the early days of banditry to the sophisticated criminal networks of today, the Mafia's story is one of adaptation and survival. We will examine its impact on society and the ongoing battle to bring it to justice. The Mafia's legacy is one of violence and corruption, but it is also a story of resilience and resistance. The fight against the Mafia continues, with brave individuals and organizations working tirelessly to dismantle its power and restore justice to Sicily. The Mafia's story begins in the 19th century, during a time of great change and unrest in Sicily. The island was ruled by absentee landlords who owned vast estates but lived far away. This left the local people with little protection from bandits and thieves. Into this void stepped groups of men who offered their services as protectors. These men, often armed and intimidating, demanded payment from landowners in exchange for keeping their property safe. This system, known as pizzo, became the foundation of the Mafia's power. As the Mafia grew stronger, it expanded its operations beyond simple protection. They began to control local markets, settle disputes, and even influence elections. The line between protector and criminal became increasingly blurred. The Mafia, or as its members called it, Cosa Nostra, our thing, developed its own code of silence and loyalty. Members swore oaths of secrecy, pledging obedience to their superiors and vowing to never betray their family. This code, known as Omerta, helped the Mafia to operate with impunity, as witnesses were too afraid to speak out. Over time, the Mafia evolved into a complex organization with a hierarchical structure. At the top were the powerful bosses who controlled vast criminal enterprises. Below them were the soldiers who carried out orders and enforced the Mafia's will. With its strict code of conduct and ruthless efficiency, the Mafia tightened its grip on Sicily, becoming a force to be reckoned with. Section 4. Faces of the Mafia, powerful bosses and their reigns. The history of the Mafia is filled with notorious figures who rose to prominence through violence and intimidation. These men were not just criminals, they were powerful leaders who commanded immense loyalty and fear. Their reigns were marked by ruthless strategies and a relentless pursuit of power, often leaving a trail of bloodshed and terror in their wake. One such figure was Salvatore Riina, nicknamed the Beast, who ruled the Corleonese Mafia clan with an iron fist. Riina's rise to power was a testament to his cunning and brutality. He orchestrated a series of violent acts that eliminated his rivals and solidified his control over the mafia. His reign was characterized by a level of violence that was unprecedented even by mafia standards. Riina was responsible for countless murders and bombings, including the assassinations of judges and prosecutors who dared to challenge the mafia's power. His most infamous acts included the bombings that killed anti-mafia magistrates Giovanni Falcone and Paolo Borsellino. These attacks were not just acts of violence, they were statements of defiance against the Italian state, meant to instill fear and demonstrate the mafia's reach. Another infamous boss was Bernardo Provenzano, known as the Tractor for his ruthlessness. Provenzano was a master of evasion and secrecy. He took over the leadership of the Corleonesi after Riina's arrest and continued to run the mafia's operations with a similar level of brutality and efficiency. Provenzano succeeded Riina as the head of the Corleonesi, and he managed to evade capture for over 40 years. His ability to remain hidden for so long was a testament to his strategic mind and the loyalty of his followers. He lived a life on the run, moving from one hideout to another, always staying one step ahead of the authorities. He ran the mafia's operations from a series of hideouts, communicating with his men through coded messages. These messages were often written on tiny pieces of paper, known as pizzini, which were passed through a network of trusted couriers. This method of communication allowed Provenzano to maintain control over the mafia's activities without ever being directly exposed. These men and others like them became symbols of the mafia's power and brutality, instilling fear and obedience in those who crossed their path. Their legacies are a stark reminder of the lengths to which the mafia will go to maintain its grip on power. The stories of Riina, Provenzano, and their contemporaries are not just tales of crime. They are lessons in the dark side of human ambition and the devastating impact it can have on society. Section 5. Reaching beyond the island. The mafia's global grip. The mafia's reach eventually extended beyond the shores of Sicily. The organization established a strong presence in the United States, particularly in New York City, where it became involved in racketeering, drug trafficking, and other criminal activities. The mafia's influence also spread to other parts of the world, including South America, Australia, and Canada. It forged alliances with other criminal organizations and infiltrated legitimate businesses, using its ill-gotten gains to corrupt officials and expand its power. The mafia's international network allowed it to operate on a global scale, making it one of the most powerful and feared criminal organizations in the world. Section 6. Fighting back. The struggle against organized crime. The mafia's reign of terror did not go unchallenged. For decades, law enforcement agencies in Italy and around the world have been engaged in a relentless battle against organized crime. In Italy, special anti-mafia units were established, tasked with investigating and prosecuting mafia members. These units have achieved significant successes, arresting high-ranking bosses and dismantling criminal networks. The fight against the mafia has been long and difficult, but it has shown that even the most powerful criminal organizations can be brought to justice. Section 7. The Mafia Today, a shadow of its former self. Today, the Sicilian Mafia is a shadow of its former self. Once a powerful and feared organization, it has seen a significant decline in its influence and operations over the past few decades. The arrests of key figures, the seizure of assets, and the relentless efforts of law enforcement have dealt severe blows to the mafia's structure. Public demonstrations and the erosion of public support have significantly weakened the organization. The people of Sicily have grown tired of the mafia's stranglehold on their communities and have taken a stand against it. However, the mafia is far from extinct. Despite these setbacks, it has shown a remarkable ability to adapt and survive. It continues to operate in Sicily and elsewhere, albeit in a less visible and more sophisticated manner. The mafia has shifted its focus to more covert operations, making it harder for authorities to track and dismantle its activities. The organization has become more discreet, using modern technology and sophisticated methods to conduct its business. This evolution has allowed it to maintain a presence in the criminal underworld. The mafia has adapted to changing times, diversifying its activities and exploiting new opportunities. for criminal gain. From cybercrime to smuggling, it has found ways to stay relevant in the modern era. Cybercrime, in particular, has become a lucrative avenue for the mafia, allowing it to reach beyond traditional boundaries and engage in global criminal activities. While the mafia may never be completely eradicated, the efforts of law enforcement and civil society have made significant strides in curbing its power and influence. The battle against organized crime is ongoing and requires constant vigilance. Community involvement and the rise of anti-mafia activists have played a crucial role in this fight. The people of Sicily are no longer willing to live in fear and are actively working to reclaim their communities. The fight against organized crime is an ongoing battle, one that requires constant vigilance and a commitment to justice. Law enforcement agencies continue to conduct raids and operations to dismantle mafia networks. The judicial system also plays a vital role in this fight, ensuring that those who are caught face justice. The combined efforts of law enforcement, the judiciary and the public are essential in the ongoing battle against the mafia.